All right, we're back. Sorry about the interruption there on the last stream. So we got to let's get this pulled back up. But here we're back in action here. Now we do have a couple of other things we need to do here. We do need to call. We called the rally the downtown rally auto sales on this 2001 Toyota Echo. When you're looking at there, we're looking at about 4,000 out the door on that one over the phone, and we would try to obviously work that down somewhat, but um, so that one we're looking at there, and we're looking at about 4,500 on the 4,500 um, on that Nissan Xterra, and about 4,100 on the Honda Fit. The Honda Fit, I said I really like the Carfax report on that one. Here I have a Carfax on the Echo. Good little option here. Barely driven um, in the 17 years and 5 months. It was driven in Florida, and 5 years and 9 months in Georgia, right here. So you can see, one that was driven a little bit by the first owner, but not really a whole lot. Like maybe 10,000 miles per year, and then the second person barely drove the car, and we get it in to get it fixed up on and everything. And then other thing you got to pay attention to on these things is, okay, well, how much is this going to cost to maintain? And one of the nice parts about this car here is that just cheap maintenance, right? Cheap tires, cheap brakes, cheap um, in relatively cheap spark plugs, cheap um, any part, like any part that you need to buy off another vehicle. It's just an inexpensive way to drive a car. You're talking about a car that has over 40 miles on the gallon on the highway and over 30 miles on the gallon in the city. So, one where all around this is, if you don't have a lot of money to start with, and you probably aren't, and say you're a younger person, you're not going to have a lot of money moving forward. Nothing worse than having to pay for major repairs on vehicles. It basically makes a vehicle worthless. I've seen it happen a million times where people will buy a cash car thinking, okay, this is going to be a great deal. Like I've got this great like uh, Ford, uh, great Ford Taurus or whatever from 2003, and I paid, $300 for it. I mean, and, yeah, sure. It may seem like you got a great deal on a car. Say you paid 1,500 bucks for your grandpa's Buick or something like that. But if the car has 200 plus thousand miles on it, and it's something like that, I mean, nothing worse than spending two, three, 4 grand on something and then having it crap out on you right away, or need a transmission or an engine, which is more expensive than just replacing the car itself. So that's what I warn people. A lot of times, cash car buyers really are finance buyers. A lot of times, if you have $3 or $4,000, you should buy a car and make payments on it if that's all you have, as opposed to spending $3 or $4,000 on a car that that doesn't that isn't going to run for very long, and then you wind up in a situation where you need to replace the vehicle. You're out that money. And that's so when you're buying cash cars, you have to be super careful when you do it. And the best way to set yourself up is to buy something that you can sell when you're done with it. And that's why here is so much better. It's so much better for, um, these cars here are so much better for that process right there. Like the Scion, for example, this one here, great option. If you can drive a stick shift, this is the stick right here. 200,000 miles, but Scion is a Toyota, right? Great car. You want a coupe. Here's an example of an excellent car right here. You've got one. It has 135,000 miles on it. It is a Camry Solara SE. 3 grand for this car. By the time you pay your fees and taxes and everything, you're probably looking at closer to right around 4 grand. But this one here, I mean, this one here has the 2.5 liter four cylinder, so it's not the V6. It's in a lot of these, which it wouldn't scare me either way. But this is just means better gas mileage and still a great motor. So I mean, you're talking 30 miles, over 30 miles a gallon on the highway on this car. Great looking, and nice thing about it is they've had it for so long that they've had to reduce the price on it. So I mean, that's how you get a car for cheap. It's in Norfolk, Virginia, but I mean, yeah, they've had this thing for 200 days. So it's time for this one to go. They'd love to get dump this one off the a potential buyer, but again, coupes just aren't in big demand right now. They're just not practical for a lot of clients. 2 doors. You have kids, it makes it hard, right? You got to try and transport things around, but for a single guy, that'd be a great car, right? Single woman, great car. Not a lot of money. You could definitely be in a car like that one, and it would be outstanding. Let's see. Some other good options would be now if you wanted to kind of look at something that was a little different. Say you need some space in your car, you need room. You have your job requires you to carry a lot of stuff with you. You've got the option to go with something like this Scion XB right here. This one here is under 200,000 miles. They've had it for over a year, so it's just been kind of collecting dust. But low, like smaller engine, but Toyota. This is basically a Toyota. Scion is basically just a rebranded economic Toyota manufacturer. They're all going to be, as far as longevity goes, one that you can again sell for close to what you pay for it, as long as you maintain the vehicle. So, there's a huge advantage. So, if you want an $8,000 car but you can't afford it, buy a $2,500 car that you can sell for 2,200 or 2,300 that you can get your money back on, right? That's what the objective is for anybody buying a cheap cash car, like that. You can buy something that you can drive and then sell later. And it's always going to be your best option. And there vehicles out there. You got to really look for them, but they are out there. So a lot of it just depends too on your market. Some markets are going to be more well equipped for that. Here's one. If you're in the Ohio area, you can find this one. It's a 2007 Toyota Yaris with just 130,000 miles on it. Now, this is going to be a newer version of what that Toyota Echo is. So basically, this is a generation ahead. But you get again a vehicle that's going to be great as far as what you're getting. You're getting a very reliable car, doesn't break down. Cheap tires, cheap brake jobs in comparison to other cars. Tremendous value for 3,000 for probably what would look like $4,000 after it's all said and done. Tremendous value on a car like that. So, you can get into cars for cheap. You just have to really know what you're doing and know how to find them. Um, so yeah, I mean, cheap on that Xterra. Let's look at this Honda Fit again. Let's look at this Honda Fit again here for now. Remember that this one they have a $700 dock fee here, so really you're paying over 4,000 for this one. Once you add in the taxes, you're about 40, 40, 42, 43 for this one. So let me see what we can work out on this one here. All right, let's call them up here. Let's call up Leaf Nissan.
Gary, schedule a service appointment. Please press 1. All other callers, press 2. If you would like to hear our store hours, press 3. Again, thank you for calling Nissan Gary.
Okay, 2.
Thank you for calling. Goodbye.
Oh, I guess they don't want to talk to me.
Thank you for calling. You have reached Lisa Nissan Gary. To schedule a service appointment, please press 1. All other callers, press 2. If you would like to hear our store hours, press 3. Again, thank you for calling Nissan Gary. Thank you for calling. Goodbye.
Well, their telephone systems may be down. Let's try their website. Okay, so here we are. We're back up here with